What's up everyone, this is Puka bringing you another video in our beginner decks for players just trying to get started in the competitive Pokemon TCG. If you missed our past videos, if you're just getting started looking for a place to start, well, check out the videos before this. We checked out some other decks before, and this time around we're going to be using the deck that just won the recent World Championships in Vancouver, and that's going to be the straight Darkrai Sableye deck. Now this is a pretty straightforward deck, but it is a little complicated sometimes because of some situations where you'll have to make some decisions, but we'll just go through the deck and see if we can't just analyze it and make it as simple for you as possible. So the deck revolves around Darkrai EX. It has a Dark Cloak ability. Each of your Pokemon that has any darkness energy attached has no retreat cost. That's a really nice ability. It gives your Pokemon free retreat so you can just move between them freely. And then you only have one attack that you have to do, Night Spear, 90 damage to the active Pokemon, and 30 to one of your opponent's benched Pokemon. So it's basically 120 damage for 3 energy. Pretty solid attack. This card has been used for over 2 years now, and it's always one of the top archetypes in the format. So this is a good deck to kind of learn, because you're going to run into it at tournaments if you do decide to play. So this is it, Darkrai EX. It's so powerful, it's its own deck. The partner for Darkrai is Sableye. It's a 70 HP basic. Confuse Ray is not very useful. The attack we're going to be looking at is Junk Hunt. Put 2 item cards from your discard pile into your hand. So you get to recover very important item cards that help you set up, disrupt your opponent, and so on and so forth. We'll take a look at the item cards that are important a little later. Just note that Sableye is a very good card that's going to help you at almost every point in the game to recover your resources. This makes the Darkrai deck much more flexible than other decks, because other decks don't really have ways to recover their item cards after they hit the discard pile, but Sableye gives you that flexibility. It's a very good card, perhaps one of the best cards in the game. For the other Pokemon, we just have one Mr. Mime. Bench Barrier is an incredible ability. Prevents all damage done to your benched Pokemon by attacks. So as we saw before, Darkrai EX does 30 damage to one of your opponent's benched Pokemon. Mr. Mime's Bench Barrier would block that 30 damage to your benched Pokemon. So this is very powerful to have. It's a nice card to include in almost every deck. Then we have Keldeo EX, used for its ability Rush In. When it's on your bench, you can kind of push your other Pokemon out of the way and move it into the active position. This is very helpful against status conditions. Things like sleep, paralysis, poison, all things that you're going to have to worry about, and Keldeo can just use its ability to rush in, get rid of your Pokemon status condition, and then when you have an energy on it, Darkrai EX's Dark Cloak gives it a free retreat cost, and then you can just retreat back to your attacker. So Keldeo EX it's only one card in your deck, but very worth it. So we'll take a look at the trainers now. We have 4 Professor Juniper. Discard your hand and draw 7 cards. Very powerful supporter card. N, shuffle your hand in and draw cards for each prize card you have. This can be Disruption late in the game, draw power early on. And you know what? We only run these 8 supporters because we also run 4 Random Receiver. Reveal cards from the top of your deck until you reveal a supporter card, and then put it into your hand. Shuffle all the other cards back into your deck. So you just reveal until you hit a supporter card. And really, these 2 cards are extremely powerful, so all you need to do is run these supporters, and then Random Receiver, and you'll get one or the other. And that's pretty good for drawing large amounts of cards and being very aggressive, because this deck wants to be extremely aggressive as soon as possible. Other draw cards include Bicycle. It's an item card, not a supporter. Draw cards until you have 4 cards in your hand. So this deck wants to be very quick, and go figure, you use a bicycle to go faster. But yeah, this is an extra draw card. These are your draw cards, and also Computer Search, your ace spec, can also be considered a draw card. Discard 2 cards and search for any card. Alright, so that's the draw engine of the deck. The items are really the most important part, though. Dark Patch is your big one. attach a basic Darkness energy card from your discard pile to one of your bench Darkness Pokemon. So this is how we're going to power up Darkrai EX's expensive Night Spear attack. It costs 3 energy, but with Dark Patch, you can easily power it up in just 1 or 2 turns. Very useful. This is why the deck can function. Another useful card is Energy Switch. Move a basic energy from one of your Pokemon to another one of your Pokemon. So let's say you were using Sableye's Junk Hunt, but now you want to use Darkrai's Night Spear. Well, you have the energy sitting on Sableye, and you'll have a free retreat cost because of Darkrai's Dark Cloak. This will allow you to retreat for free to your Darkrai EX, and then you can play that energy switch and move the energy off the Sableye onto Darkrai EX, allowing you to use Night Spear. Very useful to have in this deck. Another item card that's going to be extremely useful is Hypnotoxic Laser. Your opponent's Pokemon is now poisoned, and then flip a coin if heads, also asleep. We use this in combination with Verbank City Gym. Put 2 more damage counters on poison Pokemon in between turns. So, regularly poison would only do 10 damage, but now does 30 because of the Verbank City Gym. And then when we combine this with Dark Claw as well, which allows you to do 20 more damage with your Dark Pokemon if you have it attached, you can all of a sudden turn this 90 damage Night Spear attack into 110 with the Dark Claw, 120 with the Hypnotoxic Laser, and 140 with the Verbank City Gym. And you get to do 30 to a benched Pokemon. So this is extremely powerful. This is why Darkrai can keep up with all these other decks. It can do large amounts of damage in short bursts. Very good. Also, we have Pokemon Catcher. This will allow you to target down specific Pokemon. And as you can see up here, there is an errata applied. This card used to not require a coin flip, but it's so good that they had to fix it. Now you flip a coin if heads, pretty much drag one of your opponent's Pokemon off the bench, and bring it into the active spot. This is very important for targeting down weak Pokemon, and also manipulating the damage so that you can get multiple knockouts at once with Night Spear. Say you want to hit one harder for 90, and then finish off a weakened one for the 30 damage on the bench. You can take very easily multiple prize turns. So Pokemon Catcher, extremely useful. I don't believe we looked at Ultra Ball. Pretty simple. Discard 2 cards from your hand. Search for a Pokemon. You want to play 4 of these so that you can get Darkness energy into the discard pile to use Dark Patch. Pretty straightforward. Also, we have an energy search. Just search for a basic energy card. This is very nice because you can use Sableye's Junk Hunt in order to get it back, and basically just search for another energy. So these are all the trainers, and then we run 10 Darkness energy just to power up our Pokemon. That is going to wrap up the deck. Pretty straightforward. It may be a little complicated to learn at first, but we'll play a game just to show you guys how it goes in action. So, here we go. We're going to start playing a game here. And it looks like I'm going to be going first. I do not draw a basic Pokemon, so I have to show my hand to my opponent, and then my opponent gets to draw an extra card at the start, and I'll have to shuffle in and redraw my hand until I get a basic Pokemon. So I wanted to start with Sableye here. This is your best starting Pokemon. Unfortunately, you cannot attack if you go first, so Sableye is much weaker in that aspect, but I was wrong. I'm not going first. I'm going second. So Sableye is just fine. Now it looks like we're going up against a Blastoise, Keldeo, Black Kyurem EX deck. This is a very, very intimidating deck. And normally this is one of Darkrai's worst matchups because Black Kyurem EX has the Black Ballista attack that does 200 damage. But we'll see if we can, maybe overcome this disadvantage with some clever maneuvering. Maybe we'll get lucky. So I'll start off, I could use a Pokemon Catcher here. I'm going to get Tails. I may want to bring out the Keldeo EX and try to trap it in the active position. But I decide against playing the second one because Black Kyurem EX has so much HP that you really need to chip away at it with Hypnotoxic Laser if you can manage to draw one early on, but we don't. So, going to have to play Energy Search here, and this is perfect. We get to Ultra Ball and discard 2 Darkness Energy. That's going to fuel our Dark Patch. Very, very good. If you can get those in the discard pile right away, you're well on your way to a very quick Night Spear. So we're going to Dark Patch onto the Darkrai EX, attach to the Sableye. We'll play a random receiver as well, and use Junk Hunt here to recover 2 item cards. We're going to take a Dark Patch and an Energy Switch, since those are going to help us get a very quick Night Spear, getting more energy into play. So that was a very good start for us. It's probably the best start you could ask for on the first turn. We're almost certainly going to get a Night Spear on the second turn, which is very good. However, our opponent got a turn to Blastoise, which is not good for us. Blastoise's ability, Deluge, allows you to attach as many water energy as you want in a turn, and that's really going to allow my opponent to power up Pokemon immediately, and this is why that deck is so strong. That Black Ballista attack every turn can just knock out Darkrai's back to back, so we need to try to find some clever way to get around that. Maybe we'll try to chip away at it with Hypnotoxic Laser and then use Sableye's Junk Hunt to recover more resources before we just jump in there and start attacking. This is a very complicated situation that a lot of players struggle with. It's very good to attack with Darkrai very quickly, but you really want to have momentum. If your opponent has the opportunity to knock out your only Darkrai with energy, you may lose all of your momentum. You'll be on the back foot if you don't have another one powered up. So, in my opinion, you should kind of play conservatively in these kinds of situations and just sit back and wait until you have 2 Darkrai powered up before you start really attacking. It depends on the situation, but in general, that's what I like to do. So I played a couple of bicycles, drew some cards. We got a Verbank City Gym, which is very important. We get to remove our opponent's Tropical Beach, but more importantly, now our Verbank City Gym is doing, our Poison is doing much more damage. 30 instead of 10. That's a big difference. And again, instead of using Night Spear, I retreat to the Sableye, Junk Hunt for a Hypnotoxic Laser, and we'll grab something else as well, probably the Dark Patch, so that we can keep getting energy into play and keep up this swarm of Darkrais. Now, something interesting to note, as my opponent gets rid of my Verbank City Gym, you have Pokemon EX and then you have regular Pokemon. Ideally, you want to just let your opponent knock out 1 Sableye, which puts them at 5 prizes, and then use nothing but Pokemon EX the rest of the game. That way they have to take 7 prizes, essentially, 1 on a Sableye, and then 6 on your EXs since they give up 2. So we're going to try not to use Sableye the rest of the game, but we'll have to see. My opponent is attaching all sorts of energy, and then a Professor Juniper is coming, so this is not looking very good for us right now. But again, we're going to try our best. We'll see if we can pull off some magic here. So our opponent attaches a Lightning Energy to the benched Black Kyurem EX, and then uses Secret Sword after using Keldeo EX's Rush In to promote it to the active spot. And that will knock out my Sableye, and now it's time to strike. We have a Dark Patch onto our Darkrai EX. Going to bench another Sableye just in case. Blastoise decks normally don't play Pokemon Catcher anymore because of that coin flip change. And now I feel safe benching that Sableye. And we may need to Junk Hunt at some point. I hope we don't have to, but I'm going to put it down just in case. So I get heads on the Hypnotoxic Laser. I'm going to retreat, and then Energy Switch onto the other Darkrai, and then Bicycle for 1 card. I draw a Computer Search, but I don't want to discard Dark Patch, so I'm just going to play the N, and then hopefully we draw some good stuff, and we draw some very, very good stuff. Verbank City Gym gets rid of the Tropical Beach, and then Dark Claw can go in the active Darkrai EX, and now we can use Night Spear for a total of 140 damage to the Keldeo EX after the poison, And also we can hit Black Kyurem EX for 30 damage, setting it up for a later Hypnotoxic Laser and Night Spear for a knockout. Hopefully we can get that in. Wow, my opponent's Keldeo EX stays asleep. This is a huge moment in the game. Perhaps we caught our lucky break here. And we'll see if my opponent can get another Keldeo EX in play or not. Otherwise, he'll be stuck in the active position. And no, we just see a Squirtle. And pass. So the poison damage will knock out the Keldeo EX. And we're going to take 2 prizes here. Very good for us. Now I have an interesting situation here. I have this Professor Juniper here. But I also have a Dark Patch and a Hypnotoxic Laser. These are cards I really need to hold on to. So I can't afford to discard my hand here. And I just have to accept that I'm going to Night Spear and knock out Squirtle for 1 prize here. My opponent is employing kind of the same strategy, feeding me a basic non-EX as 1 prize, because I'll still have to knock out 2 EXs to win. Now here comes Black Kyurem EX. This is the scariest Pokemon in the game. 200 damage with that Black Ballista attack is absolutely devastating. My opponent is going to Deluge 3 energy onto the Black Kyurem EX, powering it up instantly, and then playing a Professor Juniper for 7 new cards. You can see there's even another Black Kyurem EX. Things are not looking good for us, and we're about to get hit by that big Black Ballista for 200 damage. Darkrai does not like walking into those, let me tell you that. So we see our opponent attaching more energy to a benched Black Kyurem EX in preparation for the active one being knocked out. Going to play a Level Ball to search for a Pokemon here. Grabs an Execute. It's a cute strategy. We don't really need to go into that. But here's the Black Ballista for 200, knocking out my Darkrai EX. And we'll be tied up at 3 prizes apiece. But I would still say I'm kind of at a disadvantage because of how easily Black Kyurem EX can take knockouts on Darkrai. I'm going to play a Dark Patch here, getting that energy onto the bench. Darkrai, and then the Hypnotoxic Laser. Might as well play that so that we can Poison and then Night Spear and finish off this active Black Kyurem EX. And we also get a second Dark Patch. Very, very big draw here in order to power up this bench Darkrai EX for next turn. Then we'll bench the Sableye because it doesn't really hurt. We're just going to get it out of my hand at this point, in case my opponent plays an N to try to disrupt me. And then we'll use a Night Spear, 90 damage to the active. And then we're actually going to choose Blastoise to do 30 damage to give myself an opportunity to win next turn. So we'll go ahead and take our 2 prizes off of that knockout on the Black Kyurem EX. So now Blastoise on the bench has 110 HP, and I have a Dark Claw in my hand. If I'm able to land a Pokemon Catcher on the Blastoise, and there's only 2 in my discard pile, I'll be able to bring it out and then Night Spear for the win for 110 damage. I assume my active Darkrai is getting knocked out by Black Ballista, and my opponent plays a Skyla for the superior energy retrieval, so that's certainly coming. He will recover 4 basic energy cards from the discard pile. Combos very well with Blastoise. So you can see those 4 energy coming back. And this is really going to come down to a coin flip, I think. Whether or not I can hit a heads on Pokemon Catcher to win. So we see all of that energy going on to the Black Kyurem EX. And I'm going to be knocked out by that 200 damage Black Ballista once again. And you can see why this would be such a bad matchup for the Darkrai deck. Pokemon's all about matchups. This is not a good one for our friend Darkrai. But we're going to promote Darkrai here. It has 2 energy already, so we just have to attach 1. And now we're going to try to play this turn the best I can. I get an N from my random receiver. I just wanted to take that out of my deck. Playing an N here really won't have any effect, because my opponent already has the 4 energy to use Black Ballista. And we can see there's 2 Pokemon Catcher left and the Computer Search. So we're probably going to have 2 opportunities this turn to win the game. We'll attach to the Darkrai EX, put a Dark Claw on it play a Dark Patch onto a Sableye. In case things go really south, we could Confuse Ray to try to buy a turn. Play the Laser, get a Tails. Could have put him to sleep as well. And here's the Professor Juniper, and we'll have 2 opportunities for this Pokemon catcher to win. And there we go, heads. Bring out the Blastoise. And then we can Night Spear for 110 damage, finishing it off and winning the game. So this is kind of a complicated game, but it shows off the power of the Darkrai deck. Hope you guys learned something from this. Alright everybody, hope you enjoyed. This is Puka from the Top Cut. I'll have some more videos for you guys soon, and I'll see you guys next time.